how do you score 430 for three in the first innings and lose a test match from that position? I don't understand how India lost this test match. It was so disappointing. So much hope in the first 4.5 days. And even when Thakur took that double wicket, 2-2, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see a collapse coming. India's gonna pull it off. But it wasn't meant to be. England come up with the W in the first test. Ishaan, what were your reactions?
No, similar to that. The game gave lots of hopes for India. It was many times it was India's game to lose, and India lost. I think this was a big game for not only the new chapter in Indian cricket under Shubman Gill, also there was a few new players as well who wanted to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's Test cricket, but very disappointing for Team India.
Yeah, so I guess like when you lose a game, you focus on the negatives, and we're gonna focus on the negatives first. So what went wrong? Like what was? I don't think it was one thing. There were obviously several things that happened. We'll obviously talk about the good stuff later. But the immediate thing that comes to mind for me, it's the two collapses in each inning. Like to have it in one innings is like sometimes it happens, right? But in the same test match for it to happen again against more or less the same bowler was I didn't see that coming, and I think that was huge because India in both innings had the opportunity to bat England out of the game, and they let it slip.
Yeah, no, exactly that. But where do you start from? Do you start from Shardul and Jadeja? Because so my hopes on the Shardul inclusion, and obviously Jadeja, he's in the squad for batting as well. He's an all rounder. I don't think are you really relying on Bumrah, Siraj, and Prasidh Krishna to get you 30, 40 amongst them? Probably not. I think it's more you have to focus on down the order. And unfortunately, I think Shardul Thakur was disappointing with the bat, and Jadeja as well. Maybe because he set the bar up so high, Jadeja, that we always expect a lot from him. But first test match, you're really expecting at least 150 or something like that from him. Something to really contain the innings. Sometimes it's all you really need.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not able to do that.
Yeah, I think Jaddu had his moments in the first innings he tried, and then second innings he tried better. I'd say. I think the tail could have stayed or applied themselves a little bit more. Yeah, they don't have many range of shots and probably not a lot of scoring options for them. But at least learn to defend the ball. Like, why do you have to try to hit the ball? You know you have a batsman that can score triple hundreds on the other side. Why not just keep company? Like, um, in that second innings, Bumrah, when they lost 3 wickets in that over by Josh, is it Josh Tongue or Josh Tong? Like whatever, Josh Tongue.
Tongue.
I'm gonna call him Josh Tongue. So when they lost 3 wickets in that over, I don't understand the shot selection. Like Siraj, yeah, he got a nasty ball. Like you can't, like that's hard to play. But Bumrah was swinging at it. Like there was no need for that. And then even Shardul. Like I feel like his application was missing. He was just wafting at stuff outside off stump the entire game, and I felt like they needed to just stay at the wicket and build some sort of partnership with Jadeja. It's not like there were only two tailenders at the wicket, right? And then even Prasidh Krishna. Um, you're there's a I don't know if you saw the video that went viral where
Yep.
Harry Brook was like, "Can you hit a six?" Or do you know how to? What did he say? Something about
It's like
hitting
something like
sixes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Prasid's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you," and then he gets up like,
The
"Why?"
classic chirp. Classic chirp the other player to hit a six, a big shot. Show me what you
Yeah.
got. And boom, you're out.
It
You can't
reminded
fall
me.
for those tricks.
Oh my God! It reminded me of Flintoff and Tino Best. Do you remember? That's an all-time. You remember that one?
I think so. I think
Oh
so. Oh
man,
yes, I saw the was he
mind the
West
windows.
Indian? Yeah,
Mind
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
windows,
yeah, yeah.
Tony.
Tito, yeah,
Tino. Mind the windows, Tino. Yeah. Because literally
yeah.
the next ball he steps on and he got stumped, I believe. And that particular video is still relevant today. And that wicket when Krishna got out, and then I watched that video after. I didn't know Harry Brooks said that, and when I watched it, all I could think about was Flintoff and Tino Best.
No, no, 100%. And I think to the wider point of, what were the big levers in that loss? 100% batting collapse. Uh, but a little bit before that, how do you rate Garner Nair's performance across both innings? Because y- there was points in both innings where we did expect him to have at least a decent score. We didn't talk about this yet, but I think a lot of our top batters performed well. Okay,
Yeah,
you have to give them that. A few centuries
yeah,
here and there, but
yeah. We'll get to that. Yeah.
Garnair, Garnair, was he part of the collapse in your eyes?
Um, yeah, you definitely, because in both instances, in the first innings they were three down. Next bat up was Coroner. In the second innings, yeah, they were four down. There was a little bit partnership between him and KL, but both of his dismissals, in my opinion, were very soft dismissals.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
both of them were drives where he wasn't fully. It didn't seem like he was fully committed. He was trying to obviously time the ball, but his timing was off. In the first one, it was a great catch by, I think it was Ollie Pope, right?
Ollie Pope,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was an amazing catch. But still, like, there's a fielder there. Why are you trying to hit the ball in the air, right? And I feel like he just didn't have control over the shot. Then same thing against Wilkes, another good catch, but still, his shot selection was a bit off, and that his wicket, like, he's the number six batter, and in those positions, we needed him to stay there to just have some sort of partnership, which he did with KL in the second, but it wasn't enough. We needed a 40 or a 50 from him in that
exactly,
second innings to get India to it looks like they were looking to target that 435 mark. That's what they needed, but it was
exactly.
unfortunate.
No, no, exactly that. How much emphasis do you think you would put on some of the mistakes India made? Few mistakes in the field, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I would. That's why I said it's hard to pinpoint where it went wrong. There were so many mistakes, and I think I said this to you on WhatsApp. Overall, if you look at the Test match, India made way more mistakes than
Yep,
England, and that's why they
yep,
lost. That's it. It's not that England played amazingly well. It's just that they just made less errors and the unforced errors, as you call in tennis, right? They had a lot less unforced errors in India. And so the major one is the drop catches. Like, how do you drop five catches, six catches in an innings? It just boggles my mind. Like, maybe they're not used to the temperature in England. Sometimes it can get, with the change in the weather, sometimes it can get cold. You saw a lot of the Indian players wearing the jumpers,
yep.
which is what they
The
call it. What do
vests,
we call
yep.
the vest, right? So maybe they weren't used to the weather yet, but they've been there for a long time. Like, I would think that you'd be used to that by then. But to see the catches that are being dropped, especially multiple drops by the same fielder, Jaswal,
Jaiswal.
like
Oh
I
my
thought,
gosh. Oh my gosh. And let's not forget this has started in Australia as well with some
yeah,
of the
that's
drops he
true.
had at the MCG.
That's true.
So it's cost us that test match, and I would say it as well. He was a big perpetrator in the loss of this test match as well. Catches win matches, and if you drop three in one innings, that's a huge, huge concern.
Yeah. And then he dropped what I think is a big one in the second one, where India were starving for a wicket,
Yes. Yeah.
and Duckett was in his 90s, I believe, and he pulled Siraj, who was bowling. We'll talk about the bowlers as well, but yeah, and he dropped it in a regulation catch, right? You can say that you had to dive in or whatever, but I've seen fielders take that catch eight, nine times out of 10. I don't know. I don't see any excuses there. So yeah, a tough game for him with in the field. Um, but yeah, it's hard to pinpoint uh, all like which one caused it, but there were just a lot of unforced errors.
Yeah. No, no, completely agree on that one.
Awesome. So I know we want to talk about the batting. The batting was probably the shining light in this game, but I want to stick with the negatives. So What do you think of this bowling attack? I think Bumrah did well in the first innings, and he seemed
Yeah.
to be for majority of the Test match the only one that could take a wicket. But how did you see the whole unit perform as a bowling attack?
Oh my god, they were not threatening at all. At all. I've said this before in our other pods. I am not a fan of Prasad Krishna. I am not a fan. I don't think he really brings that wicket taking ability that you need to have in a 5 test match series. You need to have a little bit of and also you need a little bit have a little panache in you. Can't just be like lilly dallying and just bowling line and length. You need to have a little bit of attitude, which is
You
why
need
I
the
don't mind
Siraj.
Siraj.
You need
Yes,
the
exactly.
Siraj.
No, no, which I don't mind. I don't mind the Siraj. So yeah, no, 100. And I know he did get a few wickets. In the second innings, but still not enough, especially when you have someone like Bumrah, who is your primary bowler. You need to have a cohort of people supporting him. I think, we can talk about Siraj later because I think he did okay in the second innings. But even Shardul Thakur, it didn't even seem like he was given a lot of responsibility with the ball. So why even have him in the 11? It was just very disappointing overall in my eyes when it comes to the India's bowling attack.
Yeah, yeah. Toothless seems to be the word
Toothless.
that comes to
Yeah.
mind for me. Like at times it just even today, day five, the first hour, Siraj and Bumrah were amazing, and kudos to Duckett and Crawley for seeing them off because they looked threatening. They looked like they could take a wicket. Their lines were really good and immaculate.
Yeah.
Maybe there was the one odd bad ball here and there, which is expected. But then, as soon as they left the attack and you had Prashant Krishna and Shardul come in, it just seemed like it was cash in time. And I think they said that after that first hour, there was like 50 runs scored of the next 9-10 overs
Oh, yes.
between
Yes. Yes. Yes.
between Prashant and Shardul. And I think that's where India need to learn, perhaps in situations like that, they need to pair up one with Bumrah or Siraj, not have Bumrah and Siraj together, um, because then you get into situations where you have two bowlers that are leaking, but you can't go to Bumrah and Siraj because they've already completed their spells and they need their rest, right? So I think that's something India can look at going forward. Obviously, it depends on Bumrah's availability too, but I feel like they should look at doing that where they sort of offset um, the attack, right? Does that make sense? And I also feel like when you have one side bowling really well, then the batters try to take it out on the other side,
Yep. Yep.
right? And so if you maybe had Bumrah bowl with Prashant Krishna or Shardul, now the England batsmen will probably want to target the other bowler because they can't get Bumrah away, right? Something to think about. Something that I thought I'm obviously not the captain of the Indian team, but something that came to mind.
No, no, no. I completely see what you're talking about. Perhaps because I guess what perhaps you're alluding to is perhaps moving Shard if we stuck to the same bowling lineup, uh, put maybe Shardul Thakur with Boomer at the top, put Siraj with Prasad Krishna at 3 and 4, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
No,
um,
that's interesting. 100%.
yeah.
I would.
So
It was toothless not only you're right in
yeah,
terms of the bowling, but
yeah,
just to carry on your point as well in the approach as well. It didn't seem like India was willing to gamble in
yeah.
that approach.
Yeah, yeah, and not saying for like the first spell. For the first spell, I understand you have Bumrah and Siraj, your best bowlers, right? But I'm saying after once you get into second, third, fourth spells,
Mhm.
why are you pairing the same bowlers together? You know, change that. You're dealing with the same type of ball. The new ball is done now, so you had your two best bowlers use it. And I'm saying for the old ball, offset that, like have them paired up with different bowlers, right? And at times I did that, but I felt like especially today in day five, he could have Shubman could have gone to that tactic because even there was that period where England were two down and they really needed wickets and they went to I believe it was Jadeja and Shardul, which it ended up working out because Shardul pulled out his Lord card and took
Yeah.
2 wickets and 2 balls. But if that didn't happen, like I don't understand the captaincy there. Like you needed wickets. Why didn't you go to Bumrah or Siraj at that moment, right? It ended
No,
up
no,
working
exactly.
out, but you know what I mean?
No, no, I completely agree with that. It was, of course, it's your point. The Lord pulled out his Lord card, but the tactics were toothless. And tactics aside and performance aside, because we know my thoughts on Prasad Krishna and Lot. Uh, I think the selection was off. I think the selection was off. I don't know why you're bringing back Shardul when NKR had a pretty decent run in Australia. Perhaps you want to give Dinesh Kumar Reddy that
Yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
And you had Arshdeep Singh play county cricket to arm option. And let's just wait a moment. If Arshdeep Singh was in replacement, just say for Prasidh Krishna, you have three opening bowlers, which
Mhm.
I think you is a great option to have.
Yeah.
Again, just I definitely think the selection was off in the batting, and I think India will definitely make and should and make the changes in the second test.
Oh yeah, and I want to talk about those changes with the bowling especially. And I'm with you there. I think the selection was off. I understand it from the sense that they wanted to beef up that lower order because if Shardul's not there and you play Arshdeep, you play Kuldeep, pick any bowler, now you have a very long tail. At the same time, you had two collapses that you might as well have played five
You
bowlers.
might as well have played five bowlers.
Right? But it is hindsight 2020. Like
It
you can
is.
understand what India was trying to do, but then again the other point is okay. So you played a bowling all rounder so that he could bat a bit. Yeah, he didn't give you anything with a bat, but he didn't give you anything with a ball either. And not only that, you don't trust him enough to bowl. Like in the first
Exactly.
innings, he's bowling 6 overs. You might as well play NKR at that point, who's a better batter, and if all you need is 6 overs, yeah, I'm sure NKR can bowl 6 overs.
Oh, and he'll get a wicket. He'll get a wicket for sure. He'll get
Oh,
one wicket.
and you get a wicket, and you have a gun fielder with NKR.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, there was a moment in today's innings where I think it was off of Jadeja's bowling. And I think Shadow Tucker was either a mid off or mid on. I don't forget who was batting.
Yes, I remember that. I
And
remember
he
that.
just sat down and just stayed there. He just stayed there.
He just dived over the ball and just stayed on
He
the
just stayed
ground.
there. That summed it up. That summed it up.
Yeah, and then it was NKR that took the catch of Duckett. That was a full-blooded drive, and he
Oh
caught that.
yes,
It
yes,
was
yes,
NKR
yes.
off Shardul's bowling. So yeah, let's see what they do for the next test. Yeah, so I want to wrap up the segment on the bowlers with who do you think is going to be in the bowling unit for the next test match, or who do you want to be in?
See, that's a great question. I think to start off, you have to really ask yourself: Are you gonna play that all rounder, or are you gonna have an extra bowler? Uh I think it's an interesting question. I think I do okay. I think I'll start off by just letting the cat out of the hat. I don't think Bumrah's playing the next match. I think they're gonna rest Bumrah because the third match is at Lords. You're right, a bigger crowd. Obviously, it's a big Lords Test match. I can see Bumrah get a five for there, right? So I think they're gonna save Bumrah for the Lords Test match. Kind of also, it is the match three, which is quote unquote could be the decider. It could be a very important match if India ties up the next match. So I think they'll save him for third Test match. So what does that leave open? I think India will bring in Arshdeep, and I think they will have Siraj.
Prasad Krishna,
Who else? Uh they're gonna drop Prasad Krishna for
Harshit Rana.
the name just eludes me, KKR
Okay,
bowler.
okay,
Harshad Rana. And I think
okay,
they should drop
okay.
Shardul
So
for
okay,
NKR.
okay.
And I would stick with
Okay,
Jaddu. And
so
I would stick with Jaddu.
are we sure that Harshit Rana's in the squad?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Because they
Oh,
sent
I thought he
back
was in the
Cambodge,
squad.
right?
Okay, okay, I'm
No,
just
no, no.
double
They
checking
sent
right
back
now.
Cambodge and they have Harshad Rana.
Because I always thought that he wasn't because they
No,
had
no.
Akash Deep, right? So you're playing Harshit Rana over Akash Deep? Okay. Okay, okay.
Yes, not a big fan of
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. He's in the squad. I
I
see
think
him. He's in
I'm
the
pretty
squad.
sure
You
they have
got
the
it. Yeah,
option of
yeah.
choosing
You're right.
Arshan
You're
out.
right. But for your so you're playing
Yeah,
Arshdeep,
yeah, yeah,
Arshad
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rana, Siraj, and NKR as your fourth seamer, and then you're keeping Ravi Jadeja as your spinner. Okay. Okay, okay. I that's an interesting take. So I have a different take. So I have a feeling Bumrah's going to play the second test match.
Okay, let's
And
hear this.
my reasoning is the following. There's a bigger
Okay,
gap between test 1 and 2 in terms of when the next test is going to be. So if I look here, yeah. So the second test is starting on July
oh,
2nd. That is a week. That's a week from today. That's next Wednesday. That's next Wednesday.
okay.
That's a little over a week from today. Okay? So that is plenty of time for him to get the rest that he needs. And then two, if you don't play Bumrah, you're increasing the probability of going down in the series 2-0, right? So
Agreed.
that is
Agreed.
something that India has to think about. Like they did say that they'll take it at one test match at a time. I think you have to play Bumrah in the second test match because you can't afford to go 2-0. If you're going down 2-0, it's going to be hard to come back from that hole. You got to try your best to get 1-1 to make the series even. And then if you fail, then you rest Bumrah for the third test match or you play him at Lords and then he doesn't play the back two test matches.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I
Yeah.
think if you just take a step back before the series
Yeah.
even began, you want to play Boomer the first match,
Sure.
and I think right because
Yeah.
you want to set the tone, right? You want to have your best foot forward. Then I think you automatically choose a third test match because that is like the quote unquote decider in
Yeah.
every possible scenario, right? If you win the first two, Boomer to close it off. If you lose the first two, Boomer to save it. If you're tied 1-1, Boomer to give you the
Yeah, I
lead.
feel they
I
should
think
play
you play Boomer
Bumrah
to
all
third.
three. They should play Bumrah in the first three test matches. Yeah. Yeah. I think
Okay,
you
okay,
forget about 4 and
okay.
5
Fair,
and you
fair,
try to
fair,
go
fair.
2-1 up
Okay.
in the series, right? You, you try to go 2-1 up in the series, you're better
Oh,
off trying
interesting,
to get
interesting. Yeah,
ahead
yeah,
than
yeah,
to try to chase with Bumrah. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people I think are thinking it's gonna be 1, 3, and
yeah.
5. I don't think so. I think you play him 1, 2, and 3, and you lose if you win, amazing, 2-1, and now you try to figure out with the other bowlers to hold that lead. Yeah, with the other lot, the rest of them, right?
With the other
Or
lot, with the rest of them.
or you play Bumrah for three test match, you lose all three. Well, great. Now the series is done. You tried your best, it didn't work, and now Bumrah rests 4 and 5.
Yeah, fair, fair. I see. Yeah, I see that perspective now. See what you mean. It'll be interesting though. It's a big call. It's a big call. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Gautam Gambhir's gonna mess up the call. He's just gonna mess it up.
So
Burma's gonna
so
retire.
so here's my bowling unit for the second test. So I have Bumrah playing. I have Bumrah playing. Uh,
Yes,
Siraj,
let's hear this. Okay,
he
Bumrah.
just
Okay.
he has that attitude as we talked about. Like I don't think you can drop him for that. You need that character in there. He just gets under the skin sometimes, right? So
You
I'm
can't.
playing
You
Siraj. I'm
need
playing
that.
Bumrah.
You need that.
And for my number three
Yeah.
seamer, I'm dropping Prashad Krishna. I'm playing Arshdeep Singh. I think India has to try something different. They need that left hand angle. They need the swing coming
Yes.
back in. They have to
Yes.
try
You need a
something
left
different.
arm.
I think you got the same right arm over the wicket every single time. I think that gets a little repetitive. Obviously, Bumrah is Bumrah, but for the other two bowlers, I think you need something different there. So I'm playing Arshdeep. And then here's my call for number 4 and 5. All right. So, so I think
Okay,
India
let's
needs
hear
to play
this.
an out and out spinner. I think they should play Kuldeep Yadav. Okay. So you play Kuldeep Yadav. It's a more attacking option. And I'm
Okay.
also saying this because of the pitch. They're playing at Edgbaston. They're saying Edgbaston is generally a batter's paradise, and it's usually on the drier side. So there may be turn there for him, and he'll be able to take advantage of it. Plus, he's got the wrong gun, so he can bowl whether it's right or left. He can spin it both ways, right? So I think you play Kuldeep, And then I
Yeah.
think it's going to be so Kuldeep plays for Shardul, okay? And then I think it's going to be a toss up between Jaddu and NKR. Jaddu and NKR,
And
because you decide whether you want to play two
oh,
spinners,
okay.
right? Three fast two spinners, or you take a call on, okay, you'll play NKR as the fourth seamer and you play Kuldeep as the out and out. So then NKR comes at center. Either way, you have a long tail. Either way, you have a long tail. But you know what? Kuldeep Yadav may not have the record as Shardul Thakur when it comes to batting, but he can hold the bat. Like he's batting at number 8, and he's a respectable number 8, I'd say. He's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
respectable number 8. He won't give you a 50, but he'll give you like a 15, 20, a partnership of 40, 50, which is what you need. Like, what did Shardul do?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I know that. I know that. But here, see, so that's first of all, interesting take. I really don't remember the last time outside of the subcontinent
Yeah,
you would play two
yeah,
spinners.
exactly. So
That's
which is why I'm saying
crazy.
it's a toss up between Jaddu and NKR, whether you want to play. But I don't think Jaddu should be the primary spinner.
Uh-huh.
I think it should be Kuldeep. I think Kuldeep should be the primary spinner, and you blood NKR in and play him as an out and out all rounder, well, batting all rounder, and then you maybe get like, as they say, fire chop out overs.
Yeah.
You get like 6, 7, 8 overs off of him per innings, right? Just to rest the fast bowlers before tea, before the breaks, that kind of thing, before the new ball, and hopefully
Okay.
he doesn't get hit. But
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
where I stand right now, because it's trying to balance that balance the batting where you don't have such a long tail, right? So or you can go Jaddu and NKR and not play Kuldeep.
Nope. I did not play Gold. No, fair. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. But hey, at least we both
But
agree on
okay, so
dropping
your
Prasidh Rishabh.
reasoning is different than mine. I actually think he did well during this game. He was hot and cold, but he did take wickets, and he just needs to learn how to contain the runs better. I think he just bled a lot of runs, and that hurt us a lot, coupled with the fact that it seemed like India didn't trust Shardul enough. So that didn't help us at all. Now, having said that, and I know we've been long on
Oh
this
yeah.
topic, but it's fun. If Bumrah doesn't play, then I'm probably
Yes.
I'm probably keeping Prashid Krishna in there. So I'm playing Prashid, Arshdeep, and Mohammad Siraj.
Really? You're not you
No, I'm not. No,
yeah, yeah, so you're not bringing a
yeah,
new fast
except for
bowler in.
Arshdeep, because in that scenario,
Except for
Arshdeep's coming
Arshdeep.
in for
Except for
Bumrah,
Arshdeep.
right?
Really? You won't get
Akashdeep's in the
Harsharana?
squad.
I think
It really
Akashdeep is
depends. I
still
think
in the squad,
I
right?
think that third bowling option when Bumrah is not playing, I believe it'll come down to who is looking the best closer to the match day in the nets. I think it'll come down to management just taking a call, because
Hmm.
you can't replace Bumrah. You gotta play the most informed bowler as per
No, no.
how they're doing in the nets. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah. No, I got 100%, 100%. So it'll be interesting. I think the bowling is definitely definitely something India needs to reflect on. But
Yeah.
the good thing is
Yeah,
there's a
absolutely,
lot of
absolutely.
different
They
options
they
India
they
can
just
pick.
have to keep experimenting, and this is the new India. This is the new era, and we as fans have to allow this to happen. We have to be ready for changes in every test match, because they're figuring themselves out. They're figuring the best 11, right? So awesome. So enough of the bowling. Let's talk about the shining light in the test match. Man, again, 500s, and you lost the test match. 500s. Who do you want to start with?
430 for three. 430 for three. Oh my gosh. Well, let's start at the top. Let's start at the top. I think it's best to start at the top. Caswell, first innings, beautiful. What a player. What a talent as well. Let's put his fielding aside and whatever that everything else aside. When it's his day, when he has, faced those 25, 30 balls and he's locked in, No, no
Oh,
player like
ooh,
him.
that's
Very
a
side
nice
Unward like in
comp.
my eyes.
Saeed Anwar. Shout out Saeed Anwar. Yeah, that classy left-hander. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has a lot of he has a lot of class in the way that he plays. It's a different type of class. Like he's not languid with his batting, like maybe like I'm talking lefties, like a Sai Sudarshan, or if you want to
Mhm.
compare him to KL, like KL is very elegant, right? Jaiswal has like a mix of that. Like he
Oh,
has some style at the same time he's got some power. Like it's beautiful to watch, and it was a mature innings because he saw off the new ball and then he played his shots as he got into his innings as the ball got softer. And it was a great 100. First innings in England, just like he did in
yeah.
Australia. First
No, no,
innings,
exactly that,
100.
exactly that. And, like, obviously no, incredible. That does not happen often, so no, 100%. And definitely, definitely, expecting big things from him this entire series. But let's talk about someone else, someone who may also obviously get missed by the headlines because he's not doing a backflip and he's not doing those celebrations. KL Rahul. What a few months. What few great batting
Yes, he's
innings
been
from
the
him
rock
the
for
last
India
few
lately,
years, no?
and he seems to be in a very good headspace with his batting. I think we've talked about this in previous episodes. Whenever
Hmm.
we've talked about KL, he just seems to be in a place where he understands his game. He understands what the team needs. He knows how to play situations now. Um, but again, I just can't believe his average is 33. Like. I just can't
So, well,
believe
hey,
it.
numbers actually
Yeah, I
don't lie.
cannot believe it.
So,
I'm like, man,
what's
that
the real
100
story
was
here?
how you bat in Test cricket. Period. Like you wanna teach youngsters how to play the game. Show KL Raoul's second innings 100. That's how you play the game. You respect the good length balls. You respect the balls
100%.
that are quote unquote can get you out, and then you put away the bad balls. You look for singles. You rotate the strike. You solid in defense. You play with soft hands. If you get an edge, it doesn't carry the slips. Everything that you can coach someone on to do in a test match situation, he did.
No, I completely, completely agree. And not only myself, I think every commentator throughout the 5 days was any opportunity was praising his classiness. He is able to give that textbook posture, the textbook balance, and you know it is very aesthetically pleasing as well when you see the motions in place. The shifting of the weight as he goes on the front foot. You see it, and you can, even if you don't know the sport, you know that okay, this is how you're supposed to play the sport. So no, I think it's very, very.
Yeah, yeah, I
I think
really wanted
his
him to
flowers were
score
due, and I'm
something. He
glad he's
looked
getting
good
it.
in the first innings too, and he was clearly disappointed when he got out. I was too, because he looked set
Yeah,
for 100 in the first innings as well. But he made up for it in the second, which put
yeah.
India in an amazing position. Alongside, well, let's not talk about him first. Let's talk about the captain. Uh, Again, first innings as captain, lots of talk about his ability to perform, his um his average as well, where they're saying that he still hasn't fully established himself as a test match player, but he put all that to rest with that 100.
No, exactly that. First innings as captain, lots of pressure, lots of talk as well outside the pitch. And I think I read the stats somewhere where when Tendulkar retired at 4 and Kohli played his first innings at 4, Kohli got a century. And it's very interesting how, sometimes history repeats itself. But I think KL Rahul is at least batting. Of course, second innings could have been better, but I
Shubman
think,
Gill.
his batting could not have gone off to a better start under
Yeah,
this new era.
absolutely,
Sorry,
especially him
sorry,
being
Shubman Gill, under
captain.
this new era.
It's true. When you're captain, to earn the respect of the team, you have to, especially when you're a batter, you have to score runs. And to do it in your first innings, immediately that alleviates you as a captain, and now you can call the shots because you put in the work to back it up, right? So, yeah, shout out to him. It was a great knock again, all class, very very much like KL Rahul, where respected the good balls, rotated the strike, you know, looked really good with his drives as well, like he always does. Even the back foot punch, the classic Shubman Gill back foot punch, looked good. But yeah, solid performance from him. Okay, so there's one person that we got to talk about now, and he seemed to have stolen the show in both innings. You have you have, as DK said on comms, classical music with KL Rahul, and you could say Shubman Gill too, and then you have hip hop and break dancing with Rishabh Pant.
Whatever that is. Oh my gosh, this guy is, as I think this word is overused this series. I don't think it is. Entertainment. He brings the entertainment to cricket, especially Test cricket. And the I think you've said this before in a previous spot.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
format, it
It
just
allows him
suits
to
him
be
well.
free. And I think it's just the way the format is played that just allows him to express himself as a batter. And it's just beautiful to watch. It can be hair pulling and just frustrating at times when it doesn't come off, but he has made it work more often than not. I think the stat is, what is he at? 44 test matches, I believe, something in the 40s, and he has 800s, not to mention 790s. Se- Seven
Oh,
scores.
yes.
So, and I think it was the
Oh
guys
my
at
gosh.
TGC that said, yeah, he's not going to convert every 90 to 100. You wouldn't be a normal player, right? But even if he converted, it's fair to say converting half of those. You're looking at 1200s from a wicketkeeper batsman.
Yep.
And
Oh, I know.
yeah,
At what
he's
age?
entering his
Right?
prime now, I'd say. And already there are murmurs that we may be looking at the greatest
Oh,
of all time in terms of wicketkeeper batsman. I'm talking Adam Gilchrist. I'm
100%.
talking
A
better than
hundred.
Adam Gilchrist. Like like it's starting. Like already in India, he's the best of all time. He's the best wicketkeeper, hands down. Dhoni was great. He's a leader more than he
Yes.
was a batter and keeper. He was known for his leadership, but not even close to the way Pant is right now. And Pant's got at least 8 to 10 years ahead of him if he stays fit.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And it seems like he's just able to control the game so well, and which is why he's able to get these centuries. And to your point, and I think yeah, I think I heard this maybe from TGC from someone else as well, but like he was maybe a total of 50 runs short of
Yeah.
having
It
1400s,
is
maybe. Like
phenomenal what
that's
he's been
incredible.
able to do, especially with the way that he plays. Like you would think someone that plays like that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the odds are against you. The probability of getting out is so high. Yet he figures out how to stay and score runs. Like it just boggles my mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Second ball of his first innings to Stokes.
Oh yeah.
Steps outside, hits it
That
right
was
over Stokes'
amazing.
head. You
He
see
did that
Stokes'
to
reactions?
Wokes
He is
too in the
laughing.
second innings.
Vokes too. It's yeah. If your Vokes started laughing, it's like, what are you gonna do? One handed here, lying down, lap here.
That's what it is.
There's no telling what's
And
coming next from him. You know?
to add to that point, in the second innings, so in the first innings, it was poetry in motion, right? He's on 99, comms on comms. I think it was Ian Ward. He's like, is it gonna be one or
Oh,
six?
I know.
And literally the next ball he hits it for six, gets to 100. And then in the second innings, this guy starts taking singles in the 90s and he defends. Yeah, he's leaving.
He starts leaving balls. He's leaving balls. I think when Joe Rue came
But
and
that's the
started
thing,
bowling outside off again, so he just
and
started
if you
leaving the
notice,
balls.
Ben Stokes even didn't see that coming because Stokes had boundary riders thinking he's going to go for a 4 and 6. He brought Root into the attack to tempt him. Punt's like, no, you're not taking this 100 away from me. Like, I'm scoring this 100 and I'm going to do it in a way where you're not even going to get a chance to get me out. So it's just amazing, amazing to watch. Box office. That's it.
Oh, I that's it. That's it. And it's exciting to see him, hopefully knock on wood, he plays all 4 games as well, because he's that player where both sides of the opposition want to come to the ground and see him play. Because to your point, are we actually seeing the
Yeah,
greatest of all time
yeah,
wicket keeping batsman?
I definitely think
Potentially.
so. If he carries on the way he is, and hopefully the consistency keeps going. I think we are looking at the GOAT in terms of a wicketkeeper batsman in the world across all generations of cricketers.
No, no, completely agree,
So
and just
on that
glad that
point,
he's part of
when
the
you
Indian
look at
team for
this
sure.
Indian batting lineup, who would you rate as the best batsman right now?
Great question. I think for me, it would be KL Rahul. I think if I had to choose a player to score big for me or for the country, I would rely on KL Rahul. I think Jaiswal's great, but still, I think you need to polish him here and there. Gill as well. I know he scored a century, but still, I think he's a little bit more to prove. Bunt's good as well, but we just know what type of form he's in at
Okay.
times. I
So,
still, I
you
would still
use
put
the
KL
word
Rahul.
relying on
What about
KL
yourself?
Rahul. Yeah, I would rely on KL Rahul too. But would you consider him the greatest batsman in this lineup right now?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. If you're
Like,
emphasizing
who's
the
your
word
number one
the
batter in
greatest
this lineup?
batsman,
I'm not talking about rely. I'm talking about your best batsman in this lineup.
it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I think it's
I
fun.
think you're pushing me
I
to say
think it's
Pant.
fun.
I don't think it's Pant for me. I don't think it's Pant for me. I don't think it's fun for me. No, 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 no. I still remember the IPL when you
Yeah,
what he
but
did to
I'm
Mr.
talking test
Goenka.
matches, right? I'm talking test matches. I think in test match right now in this batting lineup, uh, because there's no Kohli, I'm gonna say Pant is India's best batsman. Like when you're an opposition bowling attack and you look at India's batting lineup and whose wicket do you want? You want Rishabh Pant's wicket all day long. Even if you're a captain, like because of the fact that if he stays there, he can literally take the game away from you.
I 100% agree if he stays there. But I think that argument could be meant for any of the top five batsmen for Team India. I think if KL Rahul stays here, he could take the game for you. Jaiswal, if Jaiswal stays, he'll give you that 150. But just for 1 second here, Pant, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I'm totally my memory's messed up
Yeah,
here. Did he
absolutely.
make any big
He
scores in
remember
Australia?
the Gabba? Remember the Gabba? The win at the Gabba? Yeah, he had.
No, I'm talking about
I'm pretty
I'm talking
sure
about the last
he
series.
had 100. Didn't he score a century?
I don't think he scored a century. I don't
I'm
think
trying
his
to look back, but I
I don't know if
can't.
my memory's serving me correctly. I don't recall a century from him. But where I'm going with this is, I hope we're not getting caught up in this recency
No,
bias of these two quick
I'm not.
hundreds. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
no,
I'm
no,
hearing a lot
no,
of
no.
goat
I'm
talks.
not caught up. I'm
I'm
looking
hearing a lot
at
of
the
goat
44
talks.
test,
Let's
which
just
is a great sample size. In the 44 test, he averages 44. You said KL Rahul,
fair.
who averages 33. Okay? Rishabh Pant averages.
We just said what's the 33?
Yeah. So,
No, okay, fair.
and the
Fair. I'm
fact that he
following you.
has
I'm following you.
800s, he
Okay, I'm
has
following you.
15 50s. Seven of those 50s are 90s. He's on pace. He's on pace to have at least 20 to 30 hundreds by the time he calls it quits. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%. He's on the trajectory for sure, for sure, for sure. But I just again, maybe my memory's not suiting me correctly.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I
He
didn't
didn't.
see him have a dominant Australian tour with the bat.
He did have a lot of game changing
I think
innings,
he was
though.
entertaining.
Like,
Don't get me
he was
wrong,
the player
right?
that put India in the driver's seat in a couple of the matches. I don't know if you remember that 61 from 30 balls when India were getting nothing from anyone else. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. He was the highest scorer for
Yeah.
Team India at the time. I think yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And,
No, I
and,
see what you mean. I see what you mean. But
and we don't have to agree. We don't have to agree.
I
This
still
is
think.
great.
Go ahead, go ahead.
To add to my point, um, in Australia, the wickets are not easy to bat on. So it wasn't like other batters did much either. Yeah, in the first test, I think it was Jaiswal that scored that 100. Did KL score 100? Yeah, yeah. Also on
KL
flatties. It
Rahul,
was also
KL
on
Rahul took the
flatties, bro.
captain spot.
Or the wicket flattened out, if you remember, right?
Fair.
That first test at Perth. The rest of the pitches were
Yes,
hard
yes,
to
yes.
bat on. It wasn't easy. The other batters didn't put up. I don't think there were any hundreds after that from India. There was NKR. There was NKR. There was NKR. Yeah. Okay.
After the
We need to
there's
brush up
NCR, but
on
that's
that
it.
before we
It
talk.
was yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We gotta rewind and look at the stats again.
Let's
But
watch our old
anyway,
videos.
so we don't have to agree on that. I was just curious to see what you who you thought you're the best batsman is, and um, sure, you're going with KL Rahul. I'm going with Pant. That's amazing. We don't have, yeah,
No, but hey, you having a different opinion, me having a different opinion, and me also really thinking about it kind of shows that India's
yeah,
batting so far without Kohli, without Rohit Sharma,
yeah,
the chapter, at least from a
yeah.
batting
I
perspective,
think the
top
batting's in
four
great hands
has
right
turned
now.
pretty okay.
I know we didn't talk about the two incumbents
Yeah,
that one of them making a debut, the other one making a comeback. Did have much to do in the test match. I think that they'll be fine. They just need a longer rope. I'm not making any changes there. I think Sai
yes,
Sudarshan looked better in the second innings. He looked more assured.
same.
It was an important knock. He got India, I think it was like a 70, 80 run partnership where if he got out, you're looking at Gill coming early into the innings,
Yep.
could have gotten India in trouble. So that was an important knock. Karun Nair, we talked about him early. He looked better again in the second innings. Soft dismissals, and I'm sure he learned from it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I
No,
think I agree with you on
I
this,
don't see
where
any
you don't
changes
see
to the
any
top
changes
six. I
amongst
think the
those
top
two
six
for the
stays
next
as
test.
is. And you're looking, yeah, it just comes down to who's playing seven and eight. And I think the fast bowlers will, you could play any of those. Obviously, Boomerang plays whenever he can, but I think and Siraj, and so the other, I think they can just rotate and figure out who's the best one, and whoever's doing the best keeps playing as many test matches. But it all comes down to the number seven and eight.
Mhm.
Awesome.
No, no, fair enough. I
Anything
think we
else you
agree on
want to
that one.
talk about
On
for
that
this
one.
test match? I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, no, I think the words are disappointing but hopeful, and I definitely think that India should make some changes, right? Otherwise, I don't think that again, which players are you going to kick out now? You already kicked out, Kohli and Rohit Sharma. I think fingers
Oof,
might be
yeah,
pointing
he's
at
under a lot of
Gautam
pressure
Gambhir
for
if this tour
sure.
doesn't go
I
well.
think that he has to do something in this series in terms of um he has to come out India has to come out of the series with a draw, I think, at the very minimum for him to keep his spot as a coach. I think a lot is on the line for
Yes.
him. Um yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, no, series lost
Yeah.
in India, series lost in Australia, and now big one in
Yeah, for
England.
sure.
So,
Before we wrap
definitely,
up,
definitely interesting times ahead.
we can't not talk about England. What did you think of their performance? For me, I felt
Oh
that
yes,
they were behind the eight ball for most of this game, and I think if it wasn't for those collapses, they would have been out of this game. Even in the second innings, if India got to 450, you could say, "Oh yeah, they reached 375 down." They would start the chase, chasing 450. Psychology plays a huge part in sports, and I feel that they were behind the eight ball, but at the same time, kudos to them for staying in the fight and for not just giving in. And they stayed in the fight. They clearly have more experience with these conditions, and it showed.
yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think there wasn't
Mhm.
anything, in my opinion, that much threatening with England. But what worked with them was, to your point, is that they just never gave up. They were always trying to get the next session or the next swing of momentum, and they were able to get that win here and there, which is what I would say got them over the line. But again, some of that wind that they did get was because India would drop a chance, India would have a misfield. So again, to your point, I think England, some obviously, Ben Duck incredible second innings,
Harry
some
Brook
great batting
99,
performances in the first innings as well.
Ollie Pope
But
100,
I
bought
think,
the summer.
yeah, Harry Brook 99, exciting innings. Yep. No, no, 100%. um, but no, I think it was
Yeah,
India's mistakes what got England over the line. But, I think the next test for sure, is going to be very, very interesting for both sides because I don't expect any big changes from England. Maybe to your point, if it is spinning conditions, maybe they'll bring another spinner. I don't know, but
yeah, yeah. Do you
I
see
think
England playing
I
the
think it'll
same
be
squad
interesting
for the
game ahead.
second test?
Yeah, I don't think uh he would make a lot of changes, Stokes. I think he knows who he wants. I think what may sway him is the conditions. But if it's not the conditions, I
Yeah,
don't
I
think he'll
think
make any changes based on
the
anyone's
only spot up
performance,
for
at least.
grabs is probably Bryden Cars. Uh, he did do well in patches in the game, but I think Josh Tongue, just because of
Yeah,
the way he cleaned up the tail, might keep his spot. Also because there's rumblings that
yeah,
Jofra
yeah.
Archer is back in red ball cricket. He's been playing county right now and he's been doing well. So we may
The
see
county.
Jofra back in the England team. Let's see. Who knows if that happens. And there's also Mark Wood that's aiming to make a comeback for the fifth test. So I think they may make changes, if anything,
Ah,
to the
interesting.
fast bowling unit. I think Wilkes plays most of the test matches. Tongue's, I think, done enough to keep his spot. And Bashir, I think, he's going to play all five. Unless Jack Leach comes out of nowhere and Bashir gets an injury, I don't see Bashir playing. Yeah, Ryan Ahmed's always there as
Rayan Ahmed is
backup,
part of the
but
squad too, I
unless
think, right?
Bashir's having like a horrible game and he's just looking innocuous and they need to make a change, I
Yeah.
don't see him getting left out for any of the matches. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's
Good
our
point. Good
take
point.
for the first test match. An amazing match for the neutrals. Didn't help being an Indian fan, but as a cricket fan, it definitely was a great game. I'll give you that. A great advert for test match cricket. A lot of back and forth, a lot of sways. One team ahead in one day, the next day the other team fighting back. It was a great test match. All four results were on the table um, on day five, which is all you want to see in test
Yes.
matches. You don't like the one-sided games where you know who's going to win or you know what the result's going to be. So it was just great to viewing as a cricket and test match fan. See you for second test. Until then, that stumps.